Well, it's Sunday and it's time for slot car fun. And I've actually made myself a list, and I want to thank Dave Kennedy for that, because sometimes when you sit in front of the camera, and I've been sitting in front of the camera for years in my Hollywood career, and yet most of the time I'm pretty lousy at it. So what I want to talk about today, well, first I want to talk about Slot Invasion USA. Now, I heard about them, again, from Dave Kennedy, and you know what? If you don't watch Slot Car News with Dave Kennedy, you're really missing out. I have, from day one, found the man so inspiring. He keeps the hobby fun, he keeps it alive. Every time I watch his show on Friday with my cup of tea, I want to run straight home from the film studio and jump on this track. He's great. Don't miss it. It's called Slot Car News. Dave Kennedy, find his channel on YouTube. There's a link here, I think. So anyway, so I found out about these guys from him. And they're, I guess, a relatively new company. I'm not sure, but they're really nice people. I communicated with them. They sent me this lovely sticker. I got to figure out where to put it, on the track or on my pit box. But what I ordered from them, oh, and I got a pen too. Yeah. Which was really cool. I have a slot car pen. Boy, I'm getting slot car everything lately. But what I ordered, and I am going to go back and order more things from these kind folks who put a personal note in with my invoice. I ordered these. And what these are they look 3D printed and then they may be molded afterwards, but they're very well made, very strong, and they're controller stands so that your controller can sit on these. Like so. So now that I'm on camera with these, I've been dying to get these out of the bag, but I got them last night. Here they are. I want to install these today on my track. I'm always working on my track, but these are really very well made. And you can see we have Slot Invasion written on the side. You can mount it either with these two screws here or these two screws here, and the controllers sit on like that. That is really nice. And yeah, so I've got Ninco controllers because I used to have a Ninco track, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But thank you. I want to say Slot Car Invasion, but it's slotinvasionusa.com, and there's a link. It's pretty easy. Slot Invasion USA. I'm looking forward to their products, and they have excellent slot guides that Dave Kennedy has talked about. He assures me they are worth it and it really make a difference. Unfortunately, in my club, we're not allowed to modify anything, except in most cases we do have to modify the tires or put, Oderman tires on it. But we can add weights, but we mostly race, in fact, we always races off-the-shelf cars. So I can't use those, but I plan to use them on the cars that I don't race with them, just for my own personal. So anyway, so what's next on the list? And again, thanks, Dave, for the list idea. It makes perfectly sense. I'm not going to eat my list, though, although that was very funny yesterday. Updating the track to Slot Car Corner, another excellent place to buy all kinds of stuff that a lot of the other people don't have. And I go there quite often to buy parts and equipment and things like the slot car controller stations, which I got from my Ninco track. Down here you can't see it, but as I talk about it you can see it because I'm smart enough to shoot a B-roll. Those of you in the industry will know what I mean by B-roll. Originally I had got the slot car controller station kit from Slot Car Corner to upgrade my Ninco track. Now I had a much larger Ninco track here. Unfortunately, the actual rails became so corroded that the track wasn't working well anymore, so I had to copper tape it, and it just kept falling apart on me more and more and more. And then I got the Scalextric track and upgraded my track. So it is using an arc system And the ARC system's great because it works with your iPad. There's a couple different aftermarket softwares that actually work better than theirs. So you can do pretty much what you do with TrackMate, except at home on a home track with 2 lanes. Scalextric does a great job, but you know, the track is wonderful, their accessories are wonderful, the cars are okay, but these really aren't very good. I have constantly run into problems with them. Not making good contact inside and having to bend the contact. I've had the wires break off from the trigger finger, and then once I fixed them, then they weren't working quite the same. So I started to wonder, can I use another controller on them? And of course, yeah, you can. I finally figured it out. And what it ended up doing was taking out my my Neill controllers, which I still have. I gave up on the wireless ones after I had one of my cars not answer me, and it was scratch built and went straight down the track and straight into the wall. Not a happy camper. So I said, you know what? I'm sticking with wires for my slot cars. I don't trust wireless, period. You might have a different experience, but I found out, now these are 3 cables, but I found out that the ARC is only 2. So I isolated at the contacts on the ARC which color went where, and did tests till I got them to work. And I just used the alligator clips that you can see here as I talk about this. And these alligator clips clip to the connectors inside that would normally connect to the Scalextric plug, and then connect to the slot car corner controller station. That was very, very successful. And what I found out too since then is that I could probably wire up the 3rd wire to create a break. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to look into that. It's one of the next projects I have to do. So, because I had it with an Neill track, I don't have it with this one, but I think it's as simple as having that black wire go back to the power supply. So that's what I did, and I really like these Neill controllers. In fact, I forgot how much I like them. You know, Neill really made some good stuff, and these controllers are right up there with the Professor Motor controllers, I think. They're very smooth, very proportional, and I'm glad I remembered I had those, because I was just about to go buy some Professor Motor controllers that are 35 ohm, I believe, because I have some Parmas, and therefore the 1/24th scale tracks, which are much higher ohm rating, and so they don't work really well. I've hooked them up, and you barely give it power, and the car just goes flying off. But the Neill controllers work great, so that's what I did. The BMW. I didn't talk about the BMW. I thought I did last time, and I bought this to go to a race at Electric Dreams, and they had changed the time of it because the store opens at Electric Dreams early, to a very early hour, and I was unable to go, which was really disappointing. I was looking forward to it. We normally meet at 11 o'clock. We have an hour of practice, and at noon we race, and we race till about 3, and that's it. So that had all been shifted, and of course I'm going to miss another race next week because it's on the same day as a family dinner thing. So but I am going in December 18th to Stephen Farr Jones's house, who has a wonderful, beautiful landscape track to race, but unfortunately I'll have to wait till next year to race this sideways BMW. And I've never bought a sideways car before, but I have to tell you, I absolutely love what they do with their cars. Very much like NSR and Slotted. Beautiful car. You've seen the reviews. You've seen other people gloat about them. They're a terrific car. I'll be back to buy more cars from Sideways. This is my first one. Looking at the list further, I did talk about Slot Car News. You really need to go see Slot Car News every Friday with Dave Kennedy. It's terrific. He's fun. He's funny. He really enriches the hobby, I think. And lastly, and that's it, and I'm not going to eat it or throw it over my shoulder. That's Dave's thing. My Bug Eye Sprite. Okay. Well, luckily, I talked about this Bug Eye Sprite before, And I'm just going to shoot some B-roll of it, and plus I'm going to run it on the track. But this body came from John Warren. I also have his XK120, which I'm building slowly. I've got it running. I still need more parts for it, wire rims, wire wheels and stuff. But this one, he sent me a couple of, it took me 2 shots to get this thing to be to where I want it to be. I built my own frame very crudely out of brass. I used one of those small motors, not the short can, but the shorter than short can ones I've got just recently for the Osterio, and also for my Formula car I'm working on from scratch, which, by the way, is coming along very well. I'm just waiting on the parts. So this car broke down on me. I had the drive shaft. There's a drive shaft because I put the motor where the actual motor would be, and I have a drive shaft, and it slipped, and I had to resolder it and work on the frame a bit. But this runs really good because since I built this car over a year ago, I've learned so much from you guys out there. I mean, I really have. Dave Kennedy and all the rest of you with your tips and, you know, how to improve performances of the car, about tires, about weighting, about tuning, about float in the suspension, everything. You know, here I've been in slot cars since the early 60s, and I'm learning stuff like I've never had before, and it really makes it fun and exciting, and I'm so appreciative of all of you who have taught me. So this car is all back together, all working good. We'll put it on the track here in a minute. So that does it for me for today. We're going to close this video with showing some cars running on the track, the BMW and the Bug-Eye Sprite. I used to own a Bug-Eye Sprite. I love that car. I should have never sold it. But how many times have you said that to yourself? That's why I'm never selling my Z. In fact, I'm adding to it next year. I'm going to get a Spitfire, yeah, and take it to the track. Anyway, but I digress. Thank you all so much for all your support. Thank you all for making this hobby growing the way it is, and just there's so much fun on the forums and on the internet and Facebook. It just makes me feel like a kid. I am a kid. So we'll see you next week.